Johnetta, I decided to make things easy by looking like one of your cast members.
Oh. That makes it really easy. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So I love the series. I just rewatched it twice, like once because my mom had watched it and said that I needed to, and then I watched it, and then I said, "Oh, well, let's get started on season 3," and she said, "Well, you just rewatched. Now I need to rewatch it." So I just watched the whole thing again in all of season 3, like within the past couple of weeks, and then they just said, "Hey, do you want to interview the costume designers?" Of course. Because I've just lived with your work for the past few weeks, so
Yeah.
And now I can't wait for season 4. Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Oh gosh, it's gonna be tremendous. I don't think you're ready. I'm just gonna tell you, it's really good.
Okay, so let's start with the easy questions. Who's the hardest character to dress?
That's the hardest question because I don't think I have the hardest person to dress on this show. It's in the world of cowboys, everyone is really very amenable to whatever it is that we're doing if they're not a cowboy, but we have so many traditional cowboys on the show that's a really easy world. I would say of the family, JD, Kevin is super gracious with everything. He's such a normal person. He makes my job super easy. Beth makes my job really easy as well because she's a super powerhouse on screen and she's really soft and gentle off screen. So we work together collaboratively to bring together her look, and everyone else they almost just walk right into what it is that they're wearing for their characters. So it's really, it's like a dream come true to have a cast that is so well fitted and well suited in who they are and who their characters are.
Well, I love the like you can instantly just from a glance tell who's in the scene just based on how they're dressed. Yes. Kevin always has that kind of some has that pattern. I don't know the costume words, but just the like he always has that kind of two-tone thing.
Yes. So it's a Western yoke that he has.
Western yoke. That's the word. Good word, because it's because he's carrying everything on his shoulders. So.
Yes. Sure is.
And is Rip that hard to dress? Because everything with him is always all black. He's like the black hat with the cowboy stuff, but like every once in a while we'll see some Yellowstone embroidery on there.
He is so easy. Also because, he's the ranch foreman. So he is really just straightforward. He has a uniform, that he just puts on every day. We don't digress from it at all. Maybe just a little, like you said. But for the most part, he is a uniform dresser. So he's probably the easiest of everyone. Especially when we have days where we're shooting multiple continuity days, which are multiple show days within one day. I could have, because we have all the ranch hands, I could have 10 or 12 people that are on screen at once that are represented in 5 different continuity days. So that means that they have 5 different changes for those days. And Rip is the only one that stays the same for the whole time. I mean, he does have, he has 3 different tones of blue Levi's, but they're all 501s. He has 3 different tones of black, or maybe 6 or 7 tones of black, but they're all black, So, yeah.
And then looking at Walker, because Walker is basically just like the Rip that could have been.
Yeah.
And the differences, like when you were designing a character like Walker, how much was what the actor brought in, how much was Taylor saying who Taylor envisioned him, and then how much was you just like, we're giving you the big funny hat?
So with Walker, Ryan Bingham is, just in case people don't know, he's a very accomplished singer. And so because he's a musician, he's also coming from being a musician in the show. And I don't want to give anything away in case people haven't watched from the beginning, but if you watch back in the earlier sequences in the show, in season one, you'll see what Walker's life was before he started to really be a ranch hand. And so what we've done is we've infused a bit of that musical essence into his look as a cowboy. So he has a little bit more style than your average ranch hands on the Dutton Ranch. And then, of course, he comes with pieces himself. So he wears that, it's called an open crown. So he wears an open crown hat in real life. And I thought this is a beautiful thing to incorporate in your character because it absolutely sets you apart from everyone else. And then some of the pieces, he wears a lot of vintage pieces in real life. So I love vintage pieces. So it was great. That was exciting for me to go out and look for those for him, his suspenders or his leather vest or, vintage Western shirts as opposed to your traditional contemporary ones, which are out now, because the cut is very different. Now, cowboys, just like, it's interesting because in the sports world, some of the leagues have gone back to the earlier sports uniforms, which are more close fitted. And that's happening in the Western world as well. So there's been a long run where cowboys have worn things that are super baggy so that they can have more flexibility when they're on a horse, whether they're cutting, rounding up the cows or whatever the livestock are, or actually roping or anything. They want to have flexibility, and that comes with having clothes that are a little looser fit in with their shirts and with their jeans. Well, now they're streaming down so that things are a bit more fitted. So Wrangler, for instance, has reintroduced the original cowboy cut, which is a straight leg jean as opposed to a fuller leg jean. And so Walker, it's great with him because he's a petite man anyway. So it's a great opportunity for me to streamline and have things much more fitted on him because he comes from a different kind of background than the ranchers who are working all the time and need a little bit more room in their clothes.
Hmm.
You didn't think about that, huh?
Oh no, yeah,
Good
like,
thought.
well, because I'm looking at the comparison, like I'm looking at it more as a director and like the the almost the mirror images of like Walker and Rip, and then Colby and Ryan. They're
Yeah.
more a like a bonded pair.
Yes.
Um, when you're dressing them, do you uh, like think they're basically peanut butter and jelly, and then
Kind
how to
of.
compliment them?
Yeah, yeah, it actually it's a very lovely musical dance because when you have 7 to 8 actors on screen together all the time,
Mm.
it's really important to make sure that yes, they complement each other, but they also remain as individuals because a hat is a hat is a hat is a hat. But it's the shaping of the hat. Are you wearing a cattleman shape, or that dictates everything. And so if you look at Forey, for instance, who plays
Lloyd.
Lloyd,
Yeah.
right? His hats are shaped very. Forey's been a cowboy since I don't know, he was 7 or something.
Mm.
So he's a cowboy in real life and has been so his whole life. So you can see the difference with his hats, his shaping, and how he wears his clothes. He wears that original cut Wrangler, and he gets his Wranglers starched with a crease down the front, the whole 9 yards. So that separates him from Colby. That separates him from Ryan. That separates him from Jimmy, who came from the hip hop world and is just introduced to the whole Western culture, on this end. So it's lovely to be able to have everyone maintain their individuality, and they have to complement each other with their style in the world of the ranches. You can't have someone in bright colors because then they will pop out from everyone else who's in muted tones.
Mm.
So it is really, and it's Taylor's world. Taylor's also a cowboy. He owns a ranch, so he is very specific in terms of authenticity and us keeping everything very close to the ground. I would say, like everyone's grounded in this cowboy world.
And whenever Taylor has one of his cameos as Travis, are you dressing him, or is he just walking in as this is what Travis is wearing today?
Well, Taylor is Travis. He's that cutter, he's that showman. So, but oftentimes he'll walk in jeans, and then we'll give him a t-shirt. Like he wears his t-shirt often when he's working the ranch doing cowboy stuff all day. So we made that t-shirt for him, and then we've also in the sequences coming up, we've tailored his pieces a little bit more, so that he, as opposed to him walking in. And also he's working. So he's directing, he's the EP. And so we have a closet for him so that if he is showing up in a scene, he doesn't have to necessarily worry about coming fully dressed, but he comes to work every day in his cowboy boots and his spurs every single day. He can get on a horse or not, but he's working, and he comes with his hat, his his cowboy hat every day. So it's pretty great.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then, oh, yeah, I have so many like little questions. I love picking craftspeople's brains. Like
Yeah.
my old roommate managed the museum at FITM, and I would hang out on the FITM campus all the time. So I've just picked up all these little things that, for someone that's 6'4" and wears cargo shorts, people go like, "How do you know about fashion? You weren't
Yeah.
supposed to."
You tell them, don't judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
Right.
So, who? Let's talk about jeans, because it's pretty much the one thing that everybody except for Jamie wears. Um, what are your favorite kinds of jeans? Like, who is your favorite dungaree manufacturer? Like, are there some people that are more Lee, some that are Levi, or is it like Wrangler across the board?
Well, I'm going to say for Yellowstone, the jeans really do tell you the story, and
Hmm.
you want to stick to the brand, the cowboy brand. So Wrangler is the brand that we're using on. You're not a cowboy if you're not wearing Wrangler, you know? However, then we have like Walker, who wears Levi's, but he shifted into Wrangler as well because it's all
Hmm.
about the cut.
Okay.
But with the barrel racer girls
Yeah.
that were introduced in season 3, they wear Combs Ranch, which is a trendier brand, but they still has a great fit. Or Ryan, I think, maybe wore a Kimes Ranch jean somewhere during the course of his life. So that's another brand that's accepted, in the cowboy world, because it is truly a ranch brand. Their logo is Longhorns. So that
Those ones, yeah.
so yeah, but that introduces an element of style. I can't put Kimes Ranch on Lloyd. He would look at me like I was crazy for it, you know. However, Rip does wear Levi's. So there are a few, special cases where those jeans do dictate who you are and how you are on the ranch. And then there are jeans which absolutely signify who you are and how you are on the ranch. So most ranch hands wear Wrangler. It's the traditional jean that's been worn throughout the course of time. And so there are different cuts though in the Wrangler world. You've got your traditional cowboy cut, and then you've got a boot cut, and then you've got a straight leg. And so that's where we might have a little bit of distinction or differentiation. But I
And
happen to like Wrangler jeans, and they just came out. They just re-released their original iconic um, cuts, which are great for curvy girls because I'm a curvy girl. So I get to wear Wranglers again.
hey, all right. And then Beth's coat in the latter part of season 3, that big one with the toggles. Wow. Like,
Yes.
where did that come from?
So that's from a brand called Lindsay Thornburg, and those are Pendleton blankets that she's reworked into this wonderful, it's called a cloak, and we were excited to be able to use it. It was befitting for her character for that particular moment, and because it's Pendleton, it's of course entrenched in the Western culture already, and it's beautifully
Oh,
done.
yeah.
It is. It is.
That and Monica's bathing suit when she was going through the physical therapy, that that Indian design was fantastic.
Look at you. You are up on all.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh
yeah.
my gosh. That is so great, JD, that you're up on all those details. And that her bathing suit is from a Native American designer, Bethany Yellowtail. And I was excited to be able to use her work on the show on Monica because
Yeah.
she does portray a Cherokee, no, a Crow.
Crow. I
She
think so.
portrays a Crow native.
A member of the Broken Rock tribe.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
she's part Cherokee herself. So that's why that came up. But yes, she represents the Crow tribe in the show.
Nice. And then when it comes to dressing the different tribal members, like Mo seems like he comes to set dressed like that normally. Just how well put together he is. I'll let you take all the credit, but he just has that kind of like, all right, that's him.
Well, Mo comes to work every day as Mo because that's his name. Mo, that's really his name. Mo brings plenty. He is Native American. He is he's really rooted in authenticity. That's why he keeps his braids because they have a life and they have some substance and meaning to them. So of course, when he shows up, he could show up in sweatpants, but he's still Mo. Like every bit of him is Mo. So when I dress him, it suits him perfectly. It's like put paint on the canvas and the paint just sort of resolves and becomes this beautiful work of art. When he gets dressed, I just think, oh my gosh, it's so beautiful to watch the elegance, of him communicating and representing the indigenous nation. He does have, he wears Wrangler as well in a particular cut. The interesting thing is, with the jeans, one of the trickiest things for me when I started the show was I would ask people what their jean sizes were. And they would say, I get their height and your weight, and you're 5'7". But they would say to me that their jean length, they would wear a 32, 36. And I'm thinking, well, if you wear a 36 length jean, you're a 6'4", right? Not 5'7". And then I was educated, it was a very quick education. Once you get on a horse, you want your jeans to be the proper length. So that comes about a lot. So I learned that very early on. So Mo, for instance, his jeans have to be a particular length because when he rides, he wants to make sure, but all of them, Bori as well, the true cowboys know that your jeans are at least 4 inches longer than your traditional size to accommodate when you're riding, so your jeans fit properly over your boot and hang properly in the stirrups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any two cast members that have the same, like that have interchangeable pants? Like their jeans they're both the same style and like number, or like Levi has the 501. I'm not familiar with Wranglers.
So I would say, well, okay. Rip wears Levi's.
Well, I mean, like the same,
Kobe also wears Levi's, occasionally 501s. So they're the same style, just a different cut and a different wash.
That's what I mean. Like,
yeah.
But so everybody has their own independent washes and styles and cuts.
Yes, everyone has their own independent washes, styles, and cuts, and that's also what differentiates them from each other and keeps them as an individual. So Kobe, for instance, wears a darker wash. Kobe wears a light wash, and Ryan wears a darker wash, and Walker wears a more vintage style, so his wash is in the middle. Rip's wash goes from dark to medium because his character is dressed in dark clothing all the time, so we keep his jeans pretty dark. Even JD has his very specific wash to his jeans as well.
It makes me happy that you call Kevin my name, but it's his show. Oh. Is he just referred to as JD across like the departments? Because that just makes me like the show even more.
Yeah, he is referred to as JD when we're not calling him Kevin. His character is JD. It's not John Dutton. It's really great.
I really like this show now. Well,
So
thank you
you'll see
so
lots of
much.
things in our
Oh, yeah.
trailer.
Oh, now
Yeah,
that I
no,
know,
there
yeah.
are lots of things. Yeah, there you go. You got to look out for that.
Hmm. Well, I cannot wait for season 4, which starts in just mere weeks. Not soon enough, but
Yeah.
yeah. And then, are you going to be working on the prequel series?
I will not. I'm actually in
Okay.
Philadelphia working on another
Oh.
show. And so the prequel, they didn't quite have their dates all worked out yet, but
Mm.
that's going to be, I'm not going to tell you what's happening, but
Oh.
it is going to be absolutely incredible.
Oh.
It's 1883.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Um, young JD, does he wear the same? Well, I would be the same clothes. Oh, well, I guess I answered myself there.
Yeah.
Whenever they do the flashbacks, I was wondering if he was just wearing Kevin's clothes too.
Well, no,
Josh Lucas.
but it's flashbacks so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
So Josh Lucas, that flashback as the younger JD. He no, well, Kevin has a very specific gene that he wears,
Mm.
and Josh Lucas does not wear that gene because that
Mm.
gene uh
Didn't exist at the time.
and not
Or
like they are now.
mm.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. We'll have to pick this up for next season's press.
Yes, we will.
All
Yes.
right.
And I look forward to it.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Johnetta.
Nice to meet you too, JD.